And this is really capturing our experience in the last 15 years of what we've been doing. Before we get into that, just a little bit of a background, since a lot of you may not know us as a firm. We started in 1999. And when we started and looked around, we saw that there were several entrepreneurs building good quality businesses, taking them from a startup to a medium size, and we talked about medium size at 100 crores plus. But out of that, only 20 to 25% were able to really scale it to the next level. Almost 70-75% struggled with the business remaining and stagnating at that 100, 200 crores kind of a situation. And when we looked deeper, we found the key reason for the lack of scale up or the ability to scale up was really institutionalizing of the business. Because by the time it got to 100, 200 crores, it meant it required lot of processes, systems, good quality management. It couldn't be run by one or two people. And very few entrepreneurs, just 20-25% of them, were able to make that migration from running the business themselves to attracting good quality talent, building processes, systems, and scaling it up. So we said, as a firm, if we can build capabilities where we can provide this along with capital, then we will be able to build high quality firms. So what we have been doing since inception is looking to buy businesses which are in the range of 100 to 500 crores of revenues. And when we say buy, minimum 51% so that we can have control up to 100%. Infuse high quality management processes, systems, capital, and really scale those businesses over 5 to 10 years into large businesses. We have worked with about 30 businesses since inception. We have about 15 to 17 businesses currently in our portfolio with about $1 billion of sales. We've invested about $1 billion of equity capital over the last 15 years. We are fairly sector agnostic, but there are things we don't do. So we don't do startups, so we don't think we are good at starting a business and taking it there. We think we can take a small to medium business and make it large. We are better at that. We don't do real estate, we don't do infrastructure because we believe that requires skill sets we don't have, and commodities because it's very cyclical and it's tough to predict how those cycles will play out. Just to give you a little bit of sense on what are the businesses we have, we own the second largest FM radio network in India called Radio City. Meru Cabs, a lot of people would have been familiar here in the room. It is one of the largest taxi services in the country. We have a medical equipment company in Trivitron. We have one of the large food services company in VKL. We have one of the fastest growing broadband company. It's a wired broadband business called ACT, focused on the southern state. These are some of the businesses which we currently have in the portfolio. Just to give you some statistics of how things have done, we have infused significantly more capital compared to our peer group. This peer group is sort of similar size companies which we are comparing to. That has resulted in dramatic increase in sales. So compared to the peer group again, this has led to significantly better sales. Along with this, maintain management processes and so on and so forth. The capital return on capital is about catching up because we infuse so much capital. Currently, it looks like it's behind the peer group. But businesses which have matured are delivering return on capital better than the peer group. This is for the full portfolio. So you are willing to take a call that we will invest significantly in the initial 3 to 4 years with a view that will deliver the right return on capital in year 4, 5, 6. So we are willing to take that J curve while building the businesses. I think first and foremost is about the time horizon. I think all of us in public markets as well as private struggle with the view that shareholders have a particular view of how long they want to stay invested. If it's a listed company, there's a quarterly pressure because the public investors are asking for quarterly results. And if it's a private company, if it's a private equity fund, that will have its own time frame. our experience has been that businesses have to be built for the long term. Shareholding can keep changing, but businesses should be built with the view of perpetuity. That is what allows the business to have the right culture, the right values, which we believe are extremely critical, and also gives the business the ability to attract talent. And unless a business can attract talent, we believe the fact that it's very difficult for that business to outperform peers. And we have case studies here of companies where we have succeeded in doing it and the performance has been outstanding, and companies where we were not able to do it, like in our construction materials company where we couldn't find the right talent and they have really underperformed. And we also have an example of a taxi services company where we had a problem in between with top management, and clearly the business suffered in that period and again caught up as soon as we got the right talent. But all this takes time. So we think businesses have to be built with a long-term view. Values are extremely critical. So how we do business needs to be significantly more important than how much business we do. That allows us to win the trust of all the people who work in the business, win the trust of customers, win the trust of regulators, stakeholders, everyone, and we think this is one of the key reasons why our firms are doing well. Second is defining full potential. Again, what we realize is the fact that most of the firms are not thinking big. They are not thinking clearly. So having a very clear game plan in terms of how large and how can you get to full potential, and having that defined very clearly, having few areas to focus on is very critical. It's very tough. There are so many opportunities around. What to focus on becomes very, very important. So if we have that clarity and we back it up with good quality processes, then scale up becomes very nice. And most of the firms in India, because I think culturally we are not used to following processes. All of us like to do our own things. It's very tough for us to follow a process which has been laid out. And there are cases after cases where we have seen, compared to China especially, where people are very good at following processes, that similar business scales up 5 times better than Indian business because they have built processes and people are willing to follow that, and they can scale up 5 times better than us. There was a case of a mid-size hotel chain in China, and we were looking at a hotel chain here, which is a budget hotel. Our plan was that if we can build 100 hotels in 5 years, we would be extremely happy. And we equally looked at a case in China where they were able to build 600 hotels in 4 years. We could have never dreamt of doing that. And there are several examples again we can give. That's one of the reasons why we focus on investing in processes. So if you look at a food services company, it is one of the leading food services company in India. For 40 years they have been doing that, focusing on seasonings and flavors. But when we looked inside that, we said they have so much potential, they can become a full services food services company, like a Cisco in the US. So that's about dreaming big and having full potential. Then if you look at our grocery retailing, it's all about processes and systems. So we invested heavily in that, and what that led to was we grew from 80 stores to 250 stores in about 2.5 years. But that meant we needed significant processes and systems there. Similarly, in the wired broadband, I think the business is growing today at more than 100% per annum for the last 5 years CAGR. And the key reason is for the first 3 years, the business went into significant losses because we invested heavily in management team, high quality management team and processes. And that is today in the year 5, 6 and 7 showing fantastic results with great return on capital and is the fastest growing wired broadband service in the country. Second is technology, and I think Professor Chandra talked about that in the previous thing on how important technology is. And here we are feeling it is extremely critical because each of our businesses today is at a risk of getting disrupted. And if we do not embrace the technology, we will be history very soon. And also it can be an opportunity And here is an example of the taxi services, and we all have, I think all of you have experienced Uber, Ola. And once Uber set up the model globally of using technology to scale up a taxi services business, okay, it has completely changed the business model globally for all taxi businesses. With all our processes, systems and management, we would be very happy to say that in 3 years' time, if we have 20,000 cabs 3 years from today, that would have been a fantastic result. With the new technology and the app-based service, the target is suddenly 100,000 cabs, which 5 years ago, none of us could have ever imagined that that was possible. And if we didn't embrace that and didn't go down that path, Meru would have been history. Similarly, on warehousing, that's still work in progress. We haven't done that fully. It's a collateral management company for all the banks. Today, each of those warehouses, we have people who go there and make sure the fact that risk management is proper. We can issue receipts which can be relied on and so on and so forth. But we believe that now with use of technology, which is very affordable, we can suddenly make this completely online, and instead of managing 10,000 warehouses, actually aim to manage more than 100,000 warehouses in the next 5 years. So this we think is very important and is giving an opportunity for new entrants to come and completely disrupt the incumbents. And this can apply to us even as an economy, whereas a country, if we want to really disrupt some of the established economies, I think if we embrace technology and use that as an advantage, because we can leapfrog, we don't have a legacy, then that can be a very, very significant benefit for us. So what is holding things back and where have we struggled? I think first we've really struggled on implementation of rules and regulations, which is extremely patchy and inconsistent. And this sort of creates a lot of stress, and we all spend a lot of time dealing with it, and there are some examples here. For example, wired broadband. Almost on a daily basis, several fibers are cut for no reason by local competition who's feeling threatened about it. And you can't get enough police protection. So you have a whole workforce whose only job is to connect cut fiber and make sure the fact that the uptime for the network is very high. Okay. And you can't get much support from, you get some support, but you don't get enough support, and that's a huge cost to the business in terms of how it scales up and things like that. Taxi services, you've all been reading in the papers that there are bans been implemented by various regulators, but taxis are still flying. Nobody is listening to them. Some of them are being stopped, some are not being stopped. So it's highly difficult, very difficult to function. Construction material, you have a lot of unorganized competition. They don't pay taxes, they don't pay electricity bills, and you're competing with them, and they are able to put enormous pricing pressure on that. So we think this is something which is very difficult, and if one wants to be a law-abiding citizen or a law-abiding company, it puts you at a huge disadvantage, at least in the short to medium term. Next is, I think, continuation of that, the slowness of the whole legal system. That is a big barrier to attracting capital and growth. Again, here examples, in a FM radio business, for a case which everybody concluded was extremely strong and we were going to win in Supreme Court, took us 10 years to resolve it. Fortunately, it didn't go to Supreme Court. If it would have gone there, it would have been maybe 20 years. There was no debate that technically it is the right, we are in the right and we will win the case here. Taxi services, service tax has been a big issue for that, and it's sort of putting a question mark on the entire business model and the industry. But there's no resolution, no clarity on service tax will be for last several years. Wired broadband, we've been wanting to bring capital. It's a capital intensive business. Capital is available, waiting. We have for last 12 months still struggling with FIPB to get an FIPB approval so that the capital can come in. Private container train operator, this was a very good initiative where railways felt, 2 minutes, okay, where railways felt the fact that they're losing market share to roadways. So they need private operators who can provide good service, use the railways and get back traffic on railways, which is a lot more efficient way to transport heavy and long. But now they have started treating the private container operators as competition and have really almost killed the whole industry. Finally, they realize they are doing it, so now there are some changes happening, but in the meantime, a lot of damage has been done. Similarly, I think business dependent on government policies and contracting, here are the various examples where they have significantly underperformed and they are highly unpredictable compared to businesses where you have less government interface and are not dependent on government contracting. Finally, to summarize, we think it is possible to build high quality businesses in our country if we can focus on values and make sure that how business is done is significantly more important than how much business is done. We infuse the right talent, capital and processes in the companies and be ready for change to embrace the technological revolution which is happening around us. If we can do these things, we can build great businesses, and we have succeeded in doing that in the last 15 years. The areas which can really help and catalyze this process is implementing existing laws consistently. So yes, we all talked about changing laws, which is important, and that's the next point. But if we can just implement what we have speedily and consistently, I think that will greatly help. We talked about the legislative process on what are the changes we need to do, I think over the 2 days, which we think is very, very important. And finally, government contracting. I think everything which government contracts, if that can be made transparent and a dispute resolution around that can be made faster, all this will greatly help in building high quality firms.